If I throw the word revelation at you, just gut reaction, what comes to mind?
Oh, man.
For most of us, I feel like it's this instant montage of, disaster movies, fiery hail, dragons, barcodes on foreheads.
Right. General end of the world panic. It has this reputation as the scary book. The one you just skipped.
Exactly, the do not enter zone of the Bible. But we have a stack of research here today, specifically looking at what scholars call the expanded plain sense of Revelation chapter 1. And the main argument is that we've gotten the vibe completely wrong. Like, from the very first word, we are misreading the room.
We really are. And it starts with the title itself. The Greek word in verse 1 is apocalypsis.
And we hear apocalypse and we think catastrophe.
Immediately. We think nuclear winter. But apocalypsis doesn't mean catastrophe. It literally means unveiling and uncovering.
So like pulling a curtain off a statue.
Exactly that. The source material makes a massive point of this. The book isn't a code designed to hide the truth from you. It's a revelation designed to show it to you.
That is a much better starting point. So the mission of this deep dive, then, is not to predict the stock market or figure out when the world ends.
Not at all.
We're going to walk through this expanded plain sense of chapter 1. We're going to look at the chain of custody for this message and then really stare at the figure standing in the middle of the vision.
Because if you get chapter 1 wrong, the rest of the book is basically impossible. It's the foundation. It sets up the main character.
And spoiler alert, the main character isn't the Antichrist.
No.
It's Jesus.
Let's jump into the text. The prologue, verses 1 through 3. The way this message gets delivered is incredibly specific, almost like a corporate memo.
It is remarkably structured. It's a chain of custody. Verse 1 lays it out. The revelation originates with God. God gives it to Jesus.
Okay.
Jesus signifies it by his angel. The angel gives it to John, and John gives it to the servants.
I want to pause on that word you used, signified. The notes highlight the Greek word esemanen. Why is that so important? Because it's the key to the whole genre. Esemanen means to make known by a sign, by a symbol.
So it's an instruction manual for how to read the book.
It is. It's telling you, don't read this like a photograph. Read it like a political cartoon. When John sees a sword coming out of a mouse, he isn't seeing a physical weapon.
He's seeing a symbol that points to a reality.
Precisely. If you take it literally, you get monsters. If you take it symbolically, you get theology.
And John's role here, he doesn't call himself the author.
No, he uses the word martyrs.
Which is where we get the word martyr.
It is. But back then, it just meant witness. Like in a court of law, he's saying, I'm not inventing this. I'm testifying strictly to what I was shown.
Got it. There's also the sense of urgency. The text says, these things must soon take place. Now, that was 2,000 years ago. Soon feels a little off.
It's a huge stumbling block for people. But the Greek helps. The phrase is ontache, which means with speed, and the word used for time is kairos.
Ah, kairos. That's different from clock time, from chronos.
Right. Chronos is time ticking on your watch. Kairos is a decisive, appointed season. It's about quality of time, not quantity. The point isn't that the world ends in 5 minutes.
It's that these events are the next major thing on God's redemptive calendar.
Exactly. For the original readers, this was about their reality right then.
Yeah.
The curtain was being pulled back on their own struggles.
Speaking of those readers, verse 3 drops a promise I've never seen anywhere else. Blessed is the one who reads aloud, and blessed are those who hear and keep what is written in it.
It's the only book in the Bible with a built-in blessing just for consuming it. But notice the phrasing our sources point out. The one who reads aloud and those who hear.
That sounds like a church service.
It is. This scroll would arrive, someone would stand up and read, and everyone else would listen. You don't do Revelation alone. It's a communal act.
And it's not just for listening, right? The blessing is for those who keep it.
Yes. The Greek is torontes. It means to guard, to obey. This book demands a response. You don't just solve Revelation, you obey it.
So who's supposed to be obeying? John addresses the 7 churches in Asia. Now, geography check, we aren't talking about like China.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Asia was a Roman province, modern-day Western Turkey. These were real congregations in real cities.
Dealing with real problems. And John greets them with this description of God that is, well, it's a lot. Grace and peace from him who is and who was and who is to come.
That's the Father, his eternal nature. He's outside of time.
But then he adds, and from the 7 spirits before his throne. Okay, expert, weigh in here. 7 spirits. Are there 7 Holy Ghosts?
That phrasing definitely trips people up. But remember, symbols are the language here.
Right.
The number 7 represents completeness, fullness,
Yeah.
perfection.
So it's not a head count?
No. It's likely drawing on Isaiah 11, which describes the Spirit in a sevenfold way: wisdom, understanding, counsel, might.
Got it. So he's greeting them in the name of the perfect, complete fullness of the Holy Spirit.
Exactly. Fullness, not quantity. And then we get to Jesus. And the titles are so specific: faithful witness, firstborn from the dead, and ruler of the kings of the earth.
Those titles feel loaded.
They're loaded weapons in the first century. Firstborn from the dead means he's the preeminent one, the guarantee of resurrection. But that last one, ruler of the kings of the earth, that was politically explosive.
How so?
Well, who claimed to be the ruler of the kings of the earth?
Caesar.
Caesar, he was Lord. For John to say that a carpenter executed by Rome is actually the ultimate boss of all kings, that's high treason.
It's a clash of kingdoms. And speaking of which, the text says Jesus has made us a kingdom of priests.
It's beautiful. It's restoring the calling of Israel. A priest has access to God. A king has authority. John is telling these marginalized people that they have direct access to the throne of the universe.
Before the vision kicks off, God signs his name to the document in verse 8. I am the Alpha and the Omega.
The A and the Z, the beginning and the end. And he calls himself the Pantocrator.
Pantocrator. Sounds heavy.
It means the Almighty, or the All-Ruling. It's a signature of absolute sovereignty. Before you see any scary beasts, God is saying, I start it, I end it, and I rule everything in between.
Which brings us to John, the guy writing this down. He's on Patmos.
A rocky, barren island of exile. A prison colony. He's there for the word of God and the testimony of Jesus. The empire's trying to shut him up.
And I noticed he doesn't pull rank. He says, I, John, your brother and partner.
It's deep solidarity. He's suffering just like they are.
Yeah.
And he lists three things he shares with them: tribulation, kingdom, and patient endurance.
So tribulation and kingdom are happening at the same time.
Exactly. That is a profound insight. You're in God's kingdom, but you're experiencing the world's tribulation. They coexist, and the bridge between them is that third word, hypomone.
Patient endurance.
Yeah, but patience is too soft in English. It sounds passive. Hypomone is active loyalty. It's bearing up under a heavy load without breaking. It's got muscle.
Okay, so John is on this rock practicing this hypomona. It's the Lord's Day Sunday. He's in the spirit, so like a prophetic trance state.
Right, his spiritual senses are heightened. He's ready to receive a transmission.
And he hears a voice like a trumpet. It tells him to write what he sees and send it to 7 specific cities: Ephesus, Smyrna.
It was a real postal route, a circular road that connected those major cities in that exact order. It's a distribution list.
So John hears this voice, he turns around to see the voice, and the first thing he sees isn't a person, it's furniture. 7 golden lampstands.
Crucial symbolism. In the Jewish temple, you had the menorah, one stand. Here you have 7 separate lampstands. And Jesus tells us later what they are.
The churches. The lampstands are the churches.
Right. And what does the lampstand do? It doesn't create light. It bears the light. It holds it up for others to see. And they're gold, which means they are precious, valuable to God.
But the lampstands are just the setting. Standing in the midst of them is a figure, one like a son of man.
A direct callback to the book of Daniel, chapter 7. It's a divine human figure with authority to rule the world. But here, he's clothed in a long robe and a golden sash.
The sources say that outfit is a mix of high priest and king.
It is. The robe is priestly, for intercession. The sash, worn high on the chest, signals royalty. He's the priest-king standing right in the middle of his people.
And now we get to the description. This is where it gets really intense. Let's walk through this, because if you draw it literally...
It's a nightmare, but symbolically it's theology.
Let's start with the head. White like wool, as white as snow.
That's not about being old. In Daniel, the Ancient of Days, God the Father has white hair. So the vision is saying Jesus shares the eternal nature and divine purity of God.
He has eternal wisdom.
He's not a rookie. Next, the eyes, like a flame of fire.
That sounds like penetrating judgment.
It is. Fire burns away the impurities. Nothing is hidden from him. He can see right through any facade to the truth in your heart. You can't lie to eyes of fire.
Okay, his feet. Like fine brass, as if refined in a furnace.
Bronze was the strongest metal they had. It symbolizes stability and strength. And refined in a furnace suggests he's walked through the fire of judgment and suffering and come out unbreakable.
And the voice. It's not a trumpet anymore. It's like the sound of many waters.
If you've ever stood at the base of a massive waterfall, you know that sound. It's physical. It vibrates in your chest. It drowns out everything else. It's irresistible, overwhelming power.
In his right hand, he's holding 7 stars.
which the text later decodes as the angels or messengers of the churches. The key is where they are, in his right hand, the hand of sovereign control and protection.
So even if the churches feel like they're in Caesar's hand,
They're actually in Jesus' hand. Then there's the mouth. A sharp two-edged sword is coming out of it.
visually that's bizarre. Symbolically.
It's profound. He fights and rules with his word. He doesn't need a sword in his hand. His spoken word is absolute truth. It cuts both ways. It comforts and it judges.
And finally, his face is like the sun shining in its strength.
Overwhelming glory. Unapproachable light. You can't even look at it directly, which explains John's reaction.
Verse 17, when I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead.
It's the only appropriate response. This was Jesus' best friend on earth. But seeing the glorified Christ, it's too much for human biology. He collapses from the sheer weight of glory.
But then comes my favorite moment. Jesus touches him.
He laid his right hand on me. The same hand holding the stars. He's holding the universe together, but he has a hand free to comfort one person. And he says, do not be afraid.
And he reintroduces himself. I am the first and the last.
A divine title. But then he adds the gospel summary. I am he who lives and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore.
And he has the keys. I have the keys of Hades and of death.
This is a massive statement. Death isn't some gloomy fate or controlled by dark spirits. Jesus is saying, no, I went there. I conquered it. I took the keys.
What does holding the keys imply?
Authority. You decide who comes in and who goes out. Jesus is saying he has absolute authority over destiny. Death is under his management.
And that leads to the divine outline of the whole book in verse 19. Write the things which you have seen, and the things which are, and the things which will take place after this.
There's your table of contents. Things seen is chapter 1. Things which are is chapters 2 and 3, the state of the churches. And things which will take place after is chapters 4 through 22.
And finally, verse 20 gives us that decoder ring. The stars are the angels. The lampstands are the churches.
It ends on that note of explanation. He wants to be understood.
So when we step back and look at this whole chapter, what's the big takeaway? We started by saying Revelation is scary.
And we ended with Jesus saying, do not be afraid. The core image isn't a beast. It is the risen, glorified Jesus walking in the midst of the lampstands. He's not distant. He's right there, in the mess, actively evaluating and protecting.
It reframes the whole idea of end times. It's not just about a future disaster. It's about a present reality.
Yeah, exactly. For the listener who is feeling overwhelmed, this text shifts the perspective. It transforms history from a runaway train into something held firmly in the right hand of the Son of Man.
That's a powerful place to land. And I want to leave you, the listener, with that image of the keys. We spend so much time worrying about mortality, about what we can't control.
We do. Fear is a powerful driver.
But if the source material is right, and the first and the last, the one with eyes of fire and a voice like a waterfall is already in the room, holding the keys to the very thing we fear most. Does that change how you view your life today? Does fear really have a place if the one who conquered death is the one telling you the story?
That is the question we all have to answer.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you on the next one.